Ho, ho, ho! Hello, everyone! welcome to one more time talk. Guilherme, what's going on? Why are you laughing?
Because I'm very happy.
Okay.
Uh,
Welcome, everyone, once again. Our live conversations about mediumship that happens every 2 weeks is now open. I am Raf, and today I am welcoming Guilherme back to his post of co-host of this program. Good evening, Guilherme. How are you doing? I can see you are all laughs and smiles, so you are doing well. I can see.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rafael. I was really concerned about my position last time. I thought I had lost my job, mate. But I'm very happy to be here again. Let's have a wonderful night again.
Yes. Yeah, we are so grateful for Faye to join us last week in covering for Guilherme. Thank you, Faye. Hi, Faye. Um, but Guilherme is back this week and as festive as ever. Very nice touch with your hat. Thanks for that. Um, Today we have a special subject, of course. Um, This is our episode number 10. And given we are in the week where the world is celebrating the life of Jesus Christ, we are going to talk about mediumship and Jesus Christ. Um, Before I jump in, I'm going to do my usual and I'm going to say thank you to SSL, Bus, and Kardec Radio. As you know, both Guilherme and I are members of SSL, which is a study group, the Spiritual Society of London. And we have online meetings and presential meetings where we study the books of Kardec and Spiritism. If you'd like to join us, like our page on Facebook, you find the information there. SSL is affiliated to BUS, the British Union for Spiritist Societies. And BUS, again, it kind of is an umbrella organization that unites all Spiritist societies in the UK. And our third broadcaster is Kardec Radio, which has been around for over 10 years, bringing a ton of content in English to cover Spiritism and spread the knowledge around Spiritism in the world. Go like their page on YouTube and Facebook. There's loads of content initiative sessions that you can participate. Go also and download Kardec Radio app where you can find pretty much all of their content online. Right. Back to our theme, let's say mediumship and Jesus Christ. Um, as I said, this is a special episode, of course, aligned to the month of December. And we have made comments in the past mentioning Jesus, but perhaps we never made it clear that the base of our conversations and knowledge comes from Spiritism as a philosophy, as a science, as a religion, and Spiritism is a Christian faith. What do I mean by that? Christian faith in the sense that it believes in Jesus as our perfect model that we should all try to follow, is our evolved brother that give us the north in terms of our direction, our journey towards our moral evolution. But you might find this topic or this question a bit weird, a bit tricky if it's the first time you're thinking about that. Like, how can mediumship and Jesus Christ be connected and linked? And I'm going to go straight to you, Guilherme. When I say mediumship and Jesus Christ, what comes to your mind? What do you make of it? Before you answer, I want to say hello to everyone that is already connected to us. So let me say hi to Elsa, Ruben, hello from Uruguay. Hi, Saul. And who else? Well, people, please send us your comments, send us your hello so we can know where we are joining from. And more importantly, when I say mediumship in Jesus Christ, what comes to your mind? What kind of link, connection, question, doubts comes to your mind? You can type them in the comments so we can bring them up while Guilherme develops his point of view. Go, Guilherme.
Rafael, your question is the most simple and the most complicated answer we could give. How can something be simple and complicated at the same time? What did Jesus ask? Basically, he said to us to be loved creatures. Love your neighbor, love your family, love everyone, and above all, love God. Seems to be very simple, isn't it? But when I say it's also very difficult, very complicated, because somewhere along the lines, we always find an excuse not to follow this instruction. Be a medium with Jesus means, to me, be a medium 24/7. What does it mean? Be prepared to use your mediumship as you received to help people, to relieve our neighbors' pain, sufferings, any kind of need they may have. We all are mediums. But to be a medium with Jesus, we have to use our will, our very strong will, to embrace what I could say a good level of morale, a good level of activities performing good for the others. In the Spiritism, we understand that what we received for free has to be given for free. If I am putting myself in a position to help our brothers and sisters with the mediumship that I've received for free, if I do my part of, let's call, community service, perform good things for people that are in need, and please don't tell me you don't know anybody that needs anything, because that's not true. We know. And if you don't know, you just need to leave our homes and we'll see one in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So this is mediumship with Jesus for me, Rafael.
I think you hit the nail in the head, because I have a very similar understanding. I guess in the last few weeks we have been pretty much talking about the importance of the commitment that the mediums need to have with studying and working, and just to better themselves, to make sure that they can strengthen their connection, their links with the higher spirits, the elevated spirits that can be around them or should be around them. And if we think about who is a better example than Jesus in terms of that commitment, that charitable work, that selflessness. And you were talking about being charitable and finding somebody who needs it. And you don't need to, when you talk about charity, of course, it's always a broader term. We're not talking about necessarily just the person who is in physical need, but you have people around you that for sure need a helping hand, a conversation, a shoulder to cry, somebody to listen to, somebody to have just to pay attention to. Um, we definitely have people around us that need our help, and it's our duty to help them. But I want to bring another thing here. We pretty much every week or every session we mention that mediumship is a natural occurrence. It's a natural phenomenon that happens since forever, and it's not something spiritist. It's something that's it's not linked to faith or religion. It is just a natural occurrence. Just like I have curly hair, some people are mediums. Um, and so when we talk about mediumship and Jesus, it's only natural that that element is present in him. And Jesus actually talked a lot about mediumship in his own way. Um, what Spiritism did was Spiritism added to that, added bringing like a better understanding of the meaning behind Jesus' example, his passages, his parables, his teachings. So we cannot really separate Jesus from mediumship. And if people are a bit still doubtful about it, let me I want to bring a text here, and let's take a look at the text, and then let's have a think about where do we think the text came from. Um, let me share my screen again. So let's read. I'm going to read together, okay? There are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the spirituality is the same. There are different kinds of ministries, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of operations, but the same God governs all of them and all of us. Now, to each one, the spiritual manifestation is given for the common good. To one, it is given through the Spirit a message of divine wisdom. To another, by means of the same Spirit, a message of human knowledge. To another, the service of faith. And to another, gift of healing. To another, the powers to produce phenomena. To another, prophecy. To another, the ability to distinguish between spirits. To another, speaking in different kinds of tongues. And to still another, the interpretation of tongues. All these are the work of one and the same spiritual power that distributes them to each one, just as he determines. So, if I told you that this passage was taken from the Medium's book, or the Gospel, or the Spiritist book, or if this was written 40 years ago from a psychography medium, it wouldn't. I don't think there would be much question about that. I think, yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty much aligned to what we've been talking and studying. If you read about it, it's pretty much the whole, I guess, the basis of what we've been talking about. That it's natural. People have different kinds of gifts. Let's say like different types of mediumship, but it's supposed to. It comes from the same place. It's an intermediary between this plane and another one. It should be put to good work, and so on. However, what if I tell you that this is actually 1 Corinthians chapter 12? This was actually written by the Apostle Paul 19 centuries ago. So this is common public knowledge that's been around for 19 centuries. Of course, that this is a bit of a reinterpretation. There's a few changes in the words because of the different translations of the Bible. This one is mentioned in one book from Emmanuel and Chico Xavier. So thank you, Emmanuel, for this incredible insight. But why am I bringing this up now? Paul is a direct link to the teachings of Jesus as a model, as an example, and his passages and so on. And Paul is pretty much telling us here very clearly, mediumship has been around. Mediumship is a natural phenomena. It occurs. It should be put to work, and so on. Each medium is mobilized to do the work according to their possibilities. One preaches, another clarifies, another writes, another one prays, another one heals, and so on. We should not be worried about being admired or admiring mediums. Above anything, and in our own favor, we should seek the privilege to learn and the opportunity to serve. Guilherme, what does that text and the fact that this is being around for 19 centuries makes you think?
Rafael, as you said, Paul wrote that text, at least on the Western Hemisphere, had a massive impact coming from him. Catholicism, any other derivation. So the acknowledgement that mediumship does exist is there. It's written in the Bible. It's written in a few other places. We may decide not to acknowledge that information by fear, by any other reason. It could be many reasons not to acknowledge that. But the information is there. And I will give you another little information that Jesus, he was and he is the medium of God. We need to understand what a medium is. A medium is someone that is used as interface to bring us knowledge, to bring us love, to bring us peace. And there is no better example as a medium than Jesus. Remember that everything he said and he did, the miracles, as is well known by the majority, he always said, "It was my Father. He did." So he was trying to tell us that he was just the medium to make it happen. He was one of the first well-known mediums of our era. There are many others, but he was the one that changed a good part of our world forever. We may decide not to acknowledge him, not to follow him. Who wrote something? Who brought something to us over 2,000 years ago and remains until today? You may don't like it. You may don't want to follow it. But I don't remember hearing anything about questioning his teachings, his morale.
He said himself he would be gone, but his words would remain. And here we are, 2,000 years later, talking about his words.
Mhm. And bringing that to us, to our original question, what means be a medium with Jesus? It means try to follow the best as we can his steps, his teachings. There's a lot of rules created by the humans everywhere, even in the Spiritism. Follow Jesus. Follow him. If you see anything, anywhere, that prevent you to make charity, to help someone, because you believe in something you've been told or you read somewhere, thinking about Jesus, what would he do? Would he let someone in pain because of some rule written? He is the model.
Yeah, I think that for this Christmas we should all get this T-shirt that says "What would Jesus do?" Definitely is a good one to have. And again, I think one simple single rule is to follow Jesus is in any situation that you see yourself and you have someone else in a different situation, put yourself in their shoes and think about how you would like to be treated if you were on their shoes. But of course, Jesus' life, understanding, analyzing Jesus' lives and the apostles and parables. There's a lot of teachings and knowledge and examples of how to be a better person from a moral perspective, and we should always aim to do that. But I want to bring here. There's a book. Is the name of the book is called "The Spirit of Truth," and it's from Chico Xavier and Evaldo Vieira, and it's pretty much a collection of messages from different spirits. But there is one chapter, chapter 5, where André Luiz, our old friend from our previous books and episodes, um, André Luiz synthesizes in a very, very nice way 10, 10 I guess, ideas or commitments, let's call it commitments, or principles of mediums that want to commit, they want to develop themselves, they want to put their situation to good work. And the chapter is chapter 5. It's called the Decalogue Two Mediums, which is pretty much the 10 principles for the mediums. And I think following on in this link between Poe and Spiritism and Jesus as the model that should guide us, especially if we are talking about mediumship. I want to bring here those 10 principles and a link to the different parables that we have been talking and hearing about for centuries. So I'm going to share my screen once again. So what do I have here? First one, worship the duty. And then the couple of passages that we have here, we have Luke. Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. And then we have the Acts 6:4. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. I think I used a few times this word already today, which is commitment. So if you think about duty, commitment, we talked about how mediumship comes from a place of a mission that you might have in your path, or a correction, let's say, an opportunity for you to correct wrongdoings that you might have done in the past. So putting that to work committing to that is first principle. Second one, work spontaneously. Of course, if you worship duty, work doesn't come as a burden. It comes as a habit. And what I brought here for us is John 9:4. I must work the works of him that sent me, while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. So what is that telling us? Work is to be done now. Work is to be done now, while we can. And the opportunity we have today. Not tomorrow, not later. We don't know what's in for us the next day, right? Any comments, Guilherme?
Yes.
You were laughing.
Yes,
You were
please.
laughing.
Well, some people believe I'm too direct when I say things, but I believe I'm more assertive than direct. This sentence can also be understood that don't wait until you are too old to realize that you have to do something. Because we see quite often in the Spiritism world that I'm not prepared. I need to study more. The day I'll be prepared, then I will engage myself in this activity, this method activity. And the clock does not stop. I was 18 years old one day. I was 30 years old one day, 40, 50. And we do not know when we will return to the spiritual world. So do not waste your opportunity like many of us did. And we have hundreds of examples in the Spiritist literature telling us not to do so. So, as Raphael said, now is the time. Now is your opportunity. Don't waste it.
One thing you said in the beginning that kept me thinking was, however, if you waited until now because you wanted to be more prepared, there is still time. Just start. Just start. Doesn't matter if you're 94 or if you are 18. Just start.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on the list so we can at least take a look at the 10 items. So next one, item 3. Don't see yourself bigger or smaller. So here I brought John 13:35. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another. Point here is we are all equal. We all bleed the same. We all suffer the same, regardless of your abilities, your aptitudes. We are all equal. Have that in mind. Have always that in mind. Put yourself in a place of humbleness so you do not detach yourself from others, because at the end, we are all equal. Number 4, don't expect rewards in this world. Important one. Then I brought Matthew. Well, I didn't bring anything. They brought Matthew here, 6:4. That your alms may be in secret, and your Father, which sees in secret himself, shall reward you openly. Jesus, again, if you think about Jesus as a model, we're always trying to connect that. Jesus never did any of his deeds to receive any recompense, any reward, any compensation in this world. It wasn't for money, it wasn't for power, it wasn't for a house, it wasn't for land, it wasn't for any of that. Because the benefits that he valued and that he knew he would reap and receive, they were not from a material perspective. That is the model. That's the example. That's what we need to have in mind. That the work that we were talking about in item 2 and 1, it's not work that's going to bring us anything in this plane. It's something that will bring us in our eternal journey as spirits. Guilherme. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry. I would like to speak about the third one. We see quite often mediums thinking they are better because they can hear, they can listen, they can predict the future, and a few other things. Mediumship is not a burden. Mediumship is a gift, but not in a sense that a lot of people understand a gift as something that I'm proud of. I had that gift. No. It's a gift if you know how to use it. If you know how to use it properly. If you know how to use to the good of your brother and sister and humankind. That is mediumship with Jesus. Reward? Do you really want to have a kind of reward? So you need to think again. What are your goals for your mediumship? If you are expecting a reward, I would strongly suggest inner study. Try to find yourself, to identify exactly who you are. There's a lot of material that can help us to do that nowadays. And when you truly find yourself, make that question. Do you need to be rewarded? Do you understand that what you got was given for free? And the same way that was given can be taken. So just a thought.
Very good. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to bring items 5 and 6. So they're all very good lessons. Item 5, don't centralize the action. And here I have Matthew 18:20. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the middle of them. Don't try to I guess take the burden and run on your own. It's something that there's a group of people, there's a group of spirits always behind any good work, any work that is directed at helping others, elevating others. There's always a group behind it. So don't think it's a one-man job or one-woman job. Then number 6, don't imprison yourself in doubt. And here is an invitation to strengthening your faith. So I brought you I can see Guilherme's already holding his mouth because he's trying to control himself. So I bring here 2 passages. Luke 17:6. If you had faith as a grain of mustard seed, you might say to this sycamore tree, be you plucked up by the root and be you planted in the sea, and it should obey you. And then you have Mark 4:4. Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? Again, they go hand in hand. Once again, there's always a group of people, of spirits, of benefactors that want to help, that want to be next to you when you are developing your mediumship. You are giving testimony to the work that was entrusted to you. You don't need to do it on your own, and be assured that there's always help available to you spiritually. Go, Guilherme.
We mentioned that earlier today, and as there's no coincidence as such, Jesus had 12 apostles. Each one of them had different characteristics. And because they were able to work together, that's why we were blessed to have all this information we have today, all these teachings, all this marvelous work that have been done. So in regards of centralized action, do not put your mediumship in a cage. There's a lot of people trying to create cages for the mediumship. Kardec never said that. He tried to teach, to guide, but never to put in a cage. And in regard to the doubt, that every medium has doubt, every single one.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us. Why? Why? It is acceptable that human beings have fear of the unknown. But if you study, if you have the proper support with people with the right experience to avoid you to make mistakes, because we all can do mistakes, but it's better learn with other people's mistakes than to make our own mistakes. So when you are part of a team that you can rely on people because they have experience, they bring exposed to that level of activity. Don't doubt yourself that much. Allow you to be a servant. Allow you to be one of the tools that can be used by Jesus and the benefactors to help people. Too much doubt perhaps will force you to not do what you're supposed to do, and you may lose an opportunity. So think about your fears. A good level of doubt is always positive because it will make you study, will make you analyze, will make you make inquiries to people that have better knowledge than yourself, for example. But do not allow you to be consumed by doubt and fear.
If you think about every single passage that we have in the parables and so on, the confidence, or it's not even confidence, I think it's the certainty, the absolute trust that Jesus had in God and his laws. It's so clear. Everything he said and he did it, he always backed with this. He was certain of the backing of God and God's laws. Let me bring some comments here because I think I have a few comments we can bring now in the middle. So I can see Lindalva. Lindalva is saying here, she thinks Jesus is an intermediary between us and God. Absolutely. I think if you think about if mediums start to develop and establish that connection based on their own, I guess, commitment and efforts to establish that link with the higher spirits. Imagine Jesus in his perfection, a man that was perfect. Imagine how high he would be able to create these links to the point that he was actually translating God's will, God's wishes, God's laws into his teachings, into his life, into his the phenomena that he witnessed and generated. I see Saul agreed with her. Yes, true. I think he had integrity, so God entrusted him with full guidance and messages. Absolutely. And Ebony closes with a very nice message. Jesus always encourages us to simply believe. See, it's simple. I think she put it in a nice way because she used the word simply. It's simple. It's just simple. Trust, believe.
Rafael, there is something that we found in the Spiritist book. A question was made about Jesus, and the answer received from the spirits was that he was the purest, the higher elevated spirit that we ever had on earth. So, yes, he's God's medium.
Yeah. Right. So let me share again. And move on in our list. Well, not our list, Andre Luis' list that we are borrowing very respectfully. So, number 7, study always. I think with the risk of sounding repetitive, because I pretty much, I guess, say that every session. Um, knowledge, right? The knowledge is what makes you, or reading, getting exposure to new ideas and getting absorbing this knowledge is what will trigger your reflections, your analysis, your thoughts, your doubts, your questions, and that is what will allow you to understand what's going on, to understand you better, to understand mediumship better, to understand how that can be put into work and so on. What I brought here was Luke 8:10. The knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom of God has been given to you, but to others I speak in parables, so that though seeing they may not see, though hearing they may not understand. Here, I guess, direct link to mediums again, because if mediums, they are extensive, ostensive mediums, it's more difficult for them to deny existence of the spirits and life after death and so on. So again, studying is the link that will allow mediums to develop and put their mediumship to work, understand their mediumship. Number 8, don't get angry. That one is very directed at me. Even though I'm not an ostensive medium, don't get angry. And I think Matthew 5:3 is probably one of the most said passages. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you think about, again, I'm going to bring Jesus here as examples in terms of study. Jesus went to Jerusalem, went into the synagogue to read, to preach. Jesus had his commitment to unite everyone so he could preach. And what is that session other than a study session, a study meeting, where we're sharing knowledge, where people are being fed information, reflections, new ideas? And what is that? That's a study. That is Jesus day in, day out. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Is there a better example of someone who accepted all of the challenges and difficulties and problems that came towards them, all of the heated situations, let's say it, with calm, quiet, tranquility, peace? That's how we should be living our lives, because what is that? That is an understanding, a control of our emotions, of our position, our abilities, of our energy. Guilherme.
Well, as you were talking about angry and controlling emotions, I'm not very good at doing that. Definitely not very good. But I'm getting better. As I'm growing older, I'm getting better. And sometimes because we are so passionate about something, we try to convince people, we try to push too hard people to do what you believe is right. And as we grow older, we see things in a different way. So as I hope we all will grow older one day, I hope we all will change that characteristics also one day. Regarding study, I'll tell you a tip to
Please do.
how can I identify a serious medium, a medium I can trust. One of the most important things is a medium, a serious medium, you will study forever. He needs to keep studying the Spiritism philosophy and a lot more things forever, because he needs to be kept in a sharp condition to help other people. If you see someone that say, I know everything, I don't need to study anymore, that's the first warning light. Why is he or she saying that? A medium that work with Jesus, a serious medium, must study until he move on to the other world. And I can guarantee you, on the other side,
Keep
he may
studying.
not have an option. He will need to study as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true. Right. We're going to move on to the last two principles. 9. Forgive incessantly. And here I have Matthew 18, 21, 28, 22. Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. This is so, it's even difficult for me to not get a little bit ashamed if I think about myself and about how I still react to things in my life, when I know that not only Jesus gave this direct piece of advice and guidance, that of course it doesn't mean that once you forgive somebody 7 times 70, that's it, you're done. That means that you have to forgive forever. It doesn't matter. You have to forgive. If people are doing something that maybe it's not the right thing or it's harmful to you, it's your duty to forgive them. Because you don't know if in a different opportunity you would have done the same, or if you hurt someone else in another opportunity, maybe you didn't even realize. But in any ways, forgiveness should be the rule, like Jesus was up until the end, asking God to forgive the ones that were persecuting him. Which leads me very nicely to the last one. Don't fear persecutors. And here I have Luke 8:10. But Jesus spoke up at once. Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid. If you think about the martyrs, and if you think about Jesus and how he faced his final hours in this in the body, there was no anger, there was no revolt, there was no issues, there was no lack of actions because he was afraid of the consequences of people that were against him. I think it sums up everything we said before in terms of the faith, the trust. So again, if these are principles and guides for mediums out there who have a sense of mediumship. Take Jesus as a model. Go, Guilherme.
Rafael, I think those last two items are the most difficult ones to do. We are in a level of evolution that forgiveness is very, very difficult, still very difficult for us. We have brilliant examples on earth. Jesus is one of them. But I think we are in a learning process for sure, but we're still too far away from where we're supposed to be. And I believe that the age does not matter in this item. What will matter is that we have to prepare ourselves to be servant. And do not expect anything from anybody. Because when we expect something from someone, if that does not come to us, then we have a problem. We are not happy. We felt like what we did was not reciprocated, and things like that. So when you do something, do it for you. Don't expect anything back. And then you will start to minimize the amount of times you need to forgive, because you were never expecting anything from anyone. But we have a long way to go. And the last one, we have difficulties at home with our loved ones because they do not share our same perception sometimes. We have difficulties at work because they also have different beliefs. And we have our inner difficulties because we also create barriers internally. When I'm ashamed to say God's words, when I'm ashamed to say that God be with you. Yes, thanks to God that happened. Sometimes we feel embarrassed to say I'm a spiritist. I believe in spirits. I believe in life after death, because it's better be quiet. Why? Why? I believe that all of us, somewhere along the line, we have faced situations where we decide not to say anything because we did not want to be someone outside the group. Like, it's fair to say that in some situations, for your own health, it's better not to say anything, because we still have so many different places we can go, and sometimes it's better be quiet. But we have to accept internally, not what we believe, but what we know. There's a difference between what you believe and what you know. Try to change what you believe in what you know, and that will be easier. Because not even Jesus pleased everyone. So do not expect yourself to please everyone. You may not please your loved ones because you just started to practice something that they may not even understand or may don't want to understand, and so on. So good point is feel comfortable with yourself. Whatever happens, it's a bit easier to accept, and that will hurt you less.
I have an image here, Guilherme, you asked me to bring. So.
Oh, it's time already. Oh dear.
It's time. But I think we can I have that image for you, and then I have a little message in the end, and we can close with a special closing today. But let me share the image here.
I would like you all to pay attention on this image. What do you see? That image has a perfect size. Is in a natural size, actually, in a museum in Lisbon. That is the last meal of Jesus. I know
The
we used
supper.
to see, the supper, I know we used to see that nice table, nice organization. Sometimes even say that you have a golden chalice, golden cup. But thinking about what Jesus brought to us, how simple he was from the moment he has arrived in this earth, I think that picture, that image, has more of Jesus than any other image I ever saw. Look at them. They are in the ground. Look at Jesus. He's also sitting in the ground, in a very simple table, if you can say like that. Very simple supper. He was humble. He was simple. And I truly believe that image one day will be warm in our hearts, because we can say, I think I'm kind of getting simpler, and I don't need everything that I think I need. And these last 2 years have proven to all of us on this earth that it's time to rethink what we really need. Because we need very little in comparison what we thought we need. We need air to breathe. We need food to eat. We need peace to ourselves and to our loved ones. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, Guilherme. I think that image is truly a lesson on its own, as you just described and interpreted. As a final conclusion, I want to bring a message here from the book Missionaries of the Light, and I think we've read a few passages from this book in the past, but this one is from chapter 3, which is in the beginning of the book, and I think it just summarizes really well in terms of how the connections between spiritism, mediumship, Jesus Christ, and I want to read that before we close our session today. So it goes like this. The Christian Spiritism is the revival of the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. Mediumship constitutes one of its living foundations. Mediumship, however, is not exclusive to said mediums. All creatures have it, for the means is spiritual perception, which must be encouraged in ourselves. Nevertheless, it isn't enough to perceive. It is essential to sanctify this faculty, converting it into an active ministry of good. With that, I'm gonna leave this as a reflection for us to let us think why Jesus is the model for all of us as human beings, but for mediums specifically, why mediumship with Jesus has such an important connotation, because he is the guy, the model that should direct all of our lives. Today, we are going to do a special closing, I guess, to celebrate again the life of Jesus Christ and the model that he was for us. So, we're going to do a prayer live. I'm going to do the Lord's Prayer. No, it's one that most people will be accustomed to and will know, but if you don't know, that's fine. Just I invite everyone to just calm your hearts, calm your minds, put yourself in a state of peace, tranquility. Allow your mind and your heart to elevate itself to the mentors and the benefactors that are around us, to Jesus. And let's say, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be by thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So be it.
Merry
Thank
Christmas,
you.
everyone.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. It was a pleasure. Guilherme, as our Father Noel officially, thank you so much, Guilherme, for sharing these with us. I want to say hello to some new people here before we close. Thank you so much, everyone. Saul, Elza, of course, Ruben, Beatrice, Faye, Tavares, Lindalva, Ebony, Guillermo, thank you so much for joining us. Andrew, it has been super privilege to be here, and we will see each other in 2 weeks' time. Guilherme?
Well, everyone, thanks a lot. And I hope that we are able to get closer to you and perhaps help us all to go through another year. Merry Christmas. All my best wishes to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you guys soon. Bye bye.